What we're going to do now is use Photoshop to create a banner to go across the top of a course or the top of a topic within Moodle. To do this, we're going to use a couple of default settings within Photoshop. So we're going to go to File and choose New. From the drop down, you'll notice there's an option called Preset. If you choose the web presets, you can then change the size to become a leaderboard. 728 by 90 is the default size of all of those ads and things that you see across the top of web pages, and we're going to use that leaderboard to display our title on. So once you've chosen that, you can choose a background color if you like. However, we're going to put an image in there, or I'm going to put an image in there, and so you don't really need a background color, and say OK. That then gives you this default image size, which is where we're going to place our image. After we've got our image template, we then need to find an image to use as our background. Luckily I have one pre-prepared. I've just done a Google Images search. Because I'm doing a computers topic, I'm going to use a computery image, and I'm actually going to stick with this one here, which is the computer speed images. The easiest way to find an image is just to go to Google Images, do a search for your topic. If you would like, you can actually change the size, and if you want it to match particular colors, you can choose these little color options down here to get blue or mostly yellow images just by clicking on those. So I'm going to choose this computer speed image, click on that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this image so that I can then import it into my picture. So I'm just going to right click and choose to save the image as. I'm then going to save it to my desktop and choose save. You'll notice it's called computer speed JPEG. Then back in Photoshop, I'm just going to go to File and I'm going to choose to place from my desktop, computer speed, and place it. There's my image. Now you'll notice that it's placed it very small. We actually want to use this as a letterbox through to the image. That way we'll have a nice background image. So I'm actually just going to grab the handles of that image, resize it nice and large, and that way we've now got a really nice background for our image. Once you're happy with your image, you just push the tick box or press enter, and that will dump the background in. Now it's simply a matter of adding text over the top of that image for use to actually show what the title is. To do that, we use the text tool. So that's over here on the left. Click on the text tool, and once you've clicked on the text tool, you'll get your normal font selections, style selections, and size selection options. Choose the font that you would like to use. I'm just going to go with boring old Arial. I'm going to make my text bold, and you then need to check your color. You need to have a color that's going to contrast with your background. So because my background is mostly blues, I'm going to stick with whites, and then I'm going to add a drop shadow to that afterwards so that it actually stands out from the existing white. So you click on your background once you've got an appropriate size, type the name of your subject, and then you've got your subject selected in there. Now you need to choose your selection tool, or you need to select that and position it so that it's appropriate. That's just using this tool here, the Move tool. You can then pick up the font and position it exactly where you would like it on your screen. Now what I've done is I've opened up the Layers palette. You just double click on the Layers title, and you'll notice that it's then showing me the components of my image. So I've got the text computers, I've got the image called computer speed, and I've got my white background. To this, the computers, I'm going to add an effect. So you push the FX button, and the effect I'm going to use is called drop shadow, and that's just going to make the text pop out from the background. You'll see just by choosing the drop shadow and sticking with all of the default options, it's made the text pop out a bit there. You can adjust the angle of your shadow just by rotating the little bar here, and that makes the shadow appear to go from a different direction. And so you can try different options to see or to make your text pop out. You can also adjust how far your drop shadow is away and the spread of your drop shadow. So if you increase the size of your drop shadow or the spread of your drop shadow, you'll notice how it gets larger there. Or you can increase the distance that your drop shadow is away from your text just by dragging backwards like that. And you can also increase the size of your drop shadow just by doing that. You'll notice that that actually makes it fade off into the distance a bit. So it's better normally to adjust the spread rather than the size. Okay, once you're happy with your drop shadow, you can then say OK, and you'll notice that you've now got a banner. You need to save it so that it's appropriate to go into a web page. So if you go to the File menu, choose Save for Web and Devices. That will bring up a lovely preview window showing you what your image is going to look like on the web, and it will also choose a default style or format to go to the web. You can change that if you don't want a JPEG. If you want to use a PNG or a GIF file, then you can change that, and as you change it will also show you how the file size is going to change and how quickly that file size is going to load across an internet connection. So if I change it to PNG 24, it's going to take about 18 seconds. If I change it to a GIF, it's going to take 9 seconds. So I'm going to stick with my JPEG setting. Then you just choose the Save button. It'll ask you where you would like to save that. I'm going to choose to save it to my desktop, and I'm going to call it header.jpg. Save. And that's as simple as it is.